I've been thinking recently about the gospel, the good news, what it is, sins forgiven, death overcome. I've been thinking about the hope of it, the beauty of it, the wisdom that's in the scriptures, and how powerful it is in times of confusion and grief. And it breaks my heart when I hear that people think of Christianity, the Christian faith, Christian church, is harsh and judgmental, hateful even. I wonder why can't people see what I see about our faith? So I want to talk with you and whoever listens to these devotions. I want to walk us through the wisdom of the scriptures and the gospels, through the beauty and the graciousness of the Christian faith. I won't be in the New Testament. I'm going to be in the Old Testament, in the book of Proverbs. And there we're going to discover certainly ideas of right and wrong, and that's where sometimes we can become judgmental, but also the reality of how confusing life can be, and the wisdom there is to lead and live a full life. And the question for all of us is that, are we willing to take that journey with the Lord, with the Spirit of God, walking through the scriptures? Are we willing to consider the invitation of wisdom? I want to read from Proverbs chapter 2, just the first 8 verses, as this invitation to the journey that we're going to be on over the next several weeks. So Proverbs chapter 2, beginning in verse 1. My son, if you receive these words and treasure up my commandments with you, making your ear attentive to wisdom and inclining your heart to understanding. Yes, if you call out for insight and raise your voice for understanding, if you seek it like silver and search for it as for hidden treasures, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. For the Lord gives wisdom. From his mouth comes knowledge and understanding. He stores up sound wisdom for the upright. He is a shield to those who walk in integrity, guarding the paths of justice and watching over the way of his saints. If you need wisdom, seek it, and God will grant it. Sometimes we don't always see the need for wisdom. We think, oh, well, I know what's going on. I can see it clearly. I'm smart. I'm clever. But I want to tell you a story about a young man who could be quite clever and maybe I would say even ingenious on occasion, but lacking in experience and the trouble he got into because of it. It's a tale of a home improvement project, and yes, the person I'm talking about is me. When I was probably about 21. I was still in college. My family had somewhat recently moved into a new house, and we were turning the attic space above the garage into storage. The contractor who built the house had put a pull-down stair to that area, but there was no flooring up there. It was just rafters. So my dad and me, set to putting down flooring. Now, my dad wasn't in good health at the time, so I was really driving the project. And we needed to get these 4 feet by 8 foot boards up into this hole. But if you know anything about those pull-down ladders, they have these supports coming down to hold the steps in place. And it made it so that we couldn't get those 4 by 8 sheets up there, the hinges, the springs, that just made the hole too small. So we cut them down into 4 by 4 sections, and we still couldn't get them up. So we were dealing with a lot of that frustration, up, down. And my dad got really frustrated, and he wasn't sure what to do. So he said, we just need to back off. We just need to not do this. And being young and determined, I said, no, we can figure it out. And I had an idea. I thought, let's take off the supports. I'll just be up here. I'll take the supports off, and then we'll be able to get the boards up pretty easily. My dad was reluctant. There was something about it didn't strike him as quite right. But I was determined, and so I climbed up there, and I'm lying across the rafters, and I'm unscrewing the bolts. And once I got them unscrewed, I couldn't get the bolt out. I couldn't figure it out. It was just seemed jammed in between these two pieces. And I was like, well, what do I do? So when all else fails, use brute force. So I just started banging away at it, and sure enough, the bolt was starting to come out, but my mind was still working on this problem. Why is it stuck? This doesn't make any sense. And bang, bang. What's going on? Bang, and then it occurred to me, I know why it's stuck. It's because the bolt is under tension from this spring-loaded hinge. Bang! Hit it once more. The bolt came loose, and the spring launched that piece of metal right up at me towards my head, and it hit me square. I rolled back away from the hole and out of sight of my father, and he started yelling out for me, "Daryl, Daryl, Daryl!" Thankfully, I didn't fall through the rafters, but I was seeing stars, and I put my hand to my head, and it was wet. There was blood in my hair already. Daryl, are you all right? So I called down to my dad. Dad, I am okay. I'm bleeding, but I'm okay. Being clever doesn't make you experienced or wise. Parents know this about their teenage children, their young adult children. They're strong, they're vibrant, but that's not enough. An unflattering phrase. Young and dumb. There are pitfalls in life, things you can't see around the corner. There will be failures, and you need a gracious wisdom to navigate it all, to know despite all your planning, there will be times when you fail, and you need to learn how to get back up and to navigate those failures. Sadly, age doesn't guarantee wisdom. Youth need to seek it, but so do the middle-aged, and so do the aged. We need to seek wisdom, and thankfully, God gives it. It says there, if you lack insight, call out, and God will give it. But it requires humility. It requires us saying to ourselves, I don't know everything, and I need the Lord's help. So that's what I encourage you to do this week. And as we go through this passage, this study, keep open to the invitation of wisdom. And when you need it, call out, and you will find him faithful to give it. Blessings on you all.